There are people living today that do not believe in the resurrection of the body. The Greek philosophers taught that the spirit of the person was good, but the body was evil. So the sooner you got rid of the body, the better off you were. So when the body went in the grave, it decayed, and that was it. The spirit, though, returned to its source. But from the earliest of biblical writings, God made it clear that there was a bodily resurrection. In Job, we read this: "Though he slay me, yet will I trust him, because my flesh will see God. Though the worms destroy my body, in my flesh I will see God." Now the Gnostics, they declared that the resurrection of the body was foolishness. They mocked the idea that a decayed body would one day be put back together and rise alive. Now some will ask, well, how is the body raised? But someone will ask, how are the dead raised? With what kind of body will they have? How foolish. What you sow does not come to life unless it dies. When you sow, you do not plant a body that will be, but just a seed, perhaps of wheat or of something else. How are the dead raised? How can a decayed body rise? What about a body that is smashed to pieces in some disaster? Or a body that's burned to cinders in a fire? Or a body that's buried at sea and then eaten by sharks? King Agrippa held this philosophy, and Paul responded, "Why should it be thought a thing incredible with you that God should raise the dead?" But we do have proof that the dead do rise. Jesus rose bodily from the tomb, never to die again. But when he rose, his body was different. Paul says, look at the seeds. You plant a seed. The seed dies in the ground. After it dies, something different comes from the ground. Let me give you an example. An acorn is planted. It dies in the ground. Then an oak tree appears. If you cut an acorn in half, you wouldn't find a little oak tree. But once the acorn is planted, and you come back 50 years later, you're going to have a giant oak tree. The planted acorn has a totally different body when it grows. So with human bodies, the body dies, it's buried, it's raised, but it's vastly different. Same person, different body. Now remember, this is a planting analogy. To deny the analogy means that you don't believe in a harvest. But it happens countless times. It happens massively. It happens repeatedly. Out of old grain and the death of old grain comes a new plant. A field of wheat, an orchard of fruit trees, a vineyard of grapes. They all come from seeds. It's the same life. It carries the same genetic code, yet it is something new and unique. Our bodies will be our bodies, but they will be different.